Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Diamond, your State Farm Insurance Agent, Pizza Villa in DeKalb, Elder Care Services of DeKalb County, The Junction Eating Place in DeKalb, and my insurance guy Mike DeVito in Sycamore. And welcome into News Podcast number 2 with TD Ryan along with Dan Lynch, outstanding newsman. Well, I'm just saying that, maybe. And then Justin Carlson as well, the 4th Ward alderman from the city of DeKalb will be joining us as well. Justin, welcome. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, and it's great to be here with you again, TD.
Great to see you again. You are DeKalb. We want to talk to you about that. I call him the smiling alderman. We're going to talk to the smiling alderman here in a little bit. Dan, we got some news, though, don't you? Let's go take a look at some news.
All right. A DeKalb man is accused of pistol whipping his girlfriend at their Edgebrook Drive apartment. According to arrest documents, police responded to the 800 block of Edgebrook Drive at around 5:20 a.m. This was this past Friday. Police say upon arrival, a male with blood stains on his sleeve was exiting the dwelling. He told officers he had a verbal argument with the female. The female had facial injuries and was bleeding from her head. Police say 2 guns and ammo were recovered during a search of the apartment. They received a search warrant. 33-year-old Emmanuel K. Williams is now charged with armed violence, strangulation, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, and 2 counts of domestic battery.
Wow. You know, we on the radio station, we used to talk to our friends from Safe Passage all the time, and you realize that obviously each domestic violence situation is different, but a lot of times you can see where the person who's the victim can't get out of that situation, you know, especially if there's a child involved.
Well, in the last 3 years, I've been on the Citizens Police Review Board, so I've seen the body cams of these, and I didn't know this. The number 1 call into the police station for any crime is domestic.
Is that right?
That's what I've said. How do you solve this when we've seen it? Family can't stop somebody from loving someone, therapy, all those things. It's the person and how far they take it. And if they take it to this level, how do you stop that? And all it can be is just constant raising and education on it. I don't know. I don't have an answer when someone goes that far.
Well, from the police officer's perspective, too, a lot of times when they come and answer a domestic call, they become the bad guy, and then a couple turns on them.
I've seen it, and seen it again and again. And it's both sides. It's predominantly male, but it is female on male, too.
So, now, I know we talk about mental health. I know you're big, strong on mental health. And tell me now, because I believe there's a unit now that goes out with officers. I'm trying to remember who I talked to. The Elder Care Services, Tara Russo was telling us about that they're called out on a situation like this where maybe a mental health professional would be better than an officer trying to deal with that.
And I believe it would be, because it's training. Right. Everything is training. Every job any of us have ever had. The ones who are the most trained are the best at their job. And if you're not trained to handle that kind of situation, how is it going to end up successful? So, and I've went on a ride along with the police, and I went 2 or 3 years ago when things were worse. And boy, it opened your eyes to one, how low staffed we were 3 years ago, coming out of COVID. Mm-hmm. It was not a good situation. I give everyone credit for, persevering through, but it was a different animal. None of us had seen anything like that. And now I believe it is getting better and better. And that's why I chose to run for a 4th Ward alderman.
Okay.
It's the people that I see that are in the positions that I believe in, and the momentum. It definitely seems, and I know you're going to ask me about the grocery tax and that.
That's coming.
Okay, it's coming in, and I'll answer it in the same ways. This momentum of making DeKalb a better place, and on top of the ones before. Like right now, I'll say this real quick. I keep getting everyone, you're doing a great job. I've been there a month. I have not done anything. This is Alderman Perkins. If you really want to give credit, you see Greg Perkins, go up and say, great job. Because I do all the time and talking to him.
I was at the DeKalb Elks flag dedication, and the irony of that was we had hundreds, if not thousands of people in Hopkins Park protesting, and then I go to the flag ceremony at the Elks Club, 50 people, I counted, there was 50 people there.
There you go.
So, I understand that there are people who feel
praise doesn't sell.
No, but
it doesn't. And remembering and giving honor to it doesn't sell. It's not out there. But what gets clicks? Controversy, protesting. It does. It just does.
Oh, yeah, Dan was saying that the other day.
It gets clicks, and that's where our world is different now. And I still say negativity does. That's why you read these negative things. And what I can't stand is The people that moved away from DeKalb that I went to school with, and if you're listening to me, yeah, I'm calling you out. And you're commenting on what DeKalb is and calling it names.
No, always saying, I'm so glad I moved out of there.
No.
Like, what are you reading this? Why are you commenting?
And why I believe people do that is almost everybody believes they leave their job. Oh, that place is going to go right down the sewer. And I left it. Now it's not as good. No, it is great. I love DeKalb. It's better now, I think, than when we were kids. There. You got a controversial thing I said.
All right. Keep score. There's number one.
There's one. Right. There's going to be a lot today.
And Dan, what's also scary about that story, I believe you said that the man had weapons as well. So we often know that can lead in a domestic violence situation.
He had no priors.
Okay.
By the way. But yeah, I hate to hit you with that first story.
Yeah, but that's what we need to hear, unfortunately, because it is local, And I have some positive stuff too, so it all balances out, really.
It is. I keep saying the higher the population goes, you're going to have more good and you're going to have more bad. Try to limit the bad and try to intensify the good.
Well, and people know, or should know, a lot of people know that the news, it used to be, there was a catchphrase, if it bleeds, it leads. So that's what people want to hear, the bad stuff, unfortunately. You got another one, Dan? It's all right, this is a bad one. What's your next one? Or you got something, I'm sorry.
16 people in DeKalb are now displaced after a structure fire early yesterday that caused about $50,000 in damage. Fire crews responded just before 6 a.m. to the 900 block of Greenbrier Road and found smoke coming from the rear of the building. Authorities say the fire started in the bathroom and spread before crews got there. One person was taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation. The building has been deemed uninhabitable due to the water and smoke of fire. The cause and nature of the fire is still being pinpointed.
And that's, to me, is the downside. Well, there's many actually to live in an apartment building, but you have to rely on the people that are around you to be safe and not do something like that.
You do. You're always relying on that. I even had with my neighbor of being worried about, a lot of people with fireworks. They're shooting them off. It is illegal. And those ambers that come off of that or that landing on something and starting a fire. So they're concerned about that, not just the animals and the effects of PTSD.
Yeah, the PTSD.
And those things. It's also, you fire off them big ones and it goes over and lands on a car. My uncle, Johnny, I'm giving you a shout out, over on 6th Street, 4th Ward, and my Aunt Pat, they had debris fall on his truck and burn the top of his hood.
Oh, wow.
There's where your neighbors are impacting. If you're not mowing your lawns, then animals come in to hide. Now, neighbors have animals in their yard that they shouldn't have. So we each impact each other.
Carolyn Zazada, the first ward alderman, who's a former Marine, by the way, very impressive.
I listened to that whole thing.
Yeah, boy, she's something else.
Yeah.
But she said that noise, that little...
Yeah.
Is the same noise you hear when they're dropping bombs in Iraq.
And see, we always talk about, thank you for your service, and we back the veterans and that. Oh, but no, not when it comes to that.
Right, and the mental health we're going to talk about,
maybe
too.
Listen to them.
Yeah.
And if they're having they're fighting for all of our freedoms, and then we're going to turn around and say, we'll put up with it. No, and it's celebrating them. It never made sense to me. We should listen to, and I do. I listen to as many veterans and elderly as I can. They're smarter than the rest of us.
That's a great point.
They are.
Now, I was reading this. Now, this is your questionnaire from when you were running for alderman. And,
boy.
Of course, even then, the roundabout was around then. And I didn't realize this, and if you don't mind me saying this, you were a contractor. You worked with traffic signals and street lighting. You worked for more than half of your life on Illinois intersections and road safety. I'm quoting you, I believe, roundabouts are safe and a long-term cost-effective solution to certain locations. Now,
certain locations. And where they're cost-effective, you either believe me or not, I could estimate for you right now a traffic signal intersection.
I never thought about the traffic signal because there isn't any in the roundabout, right? So
no. And so the two things I look at why you should listen. Two reasons. One, a traffic signal, a new one to put at that location. You're going to want to interconnect it with the downtown. You're going to want to match the poles. It's probably going to cost you between $300,000 and $500,000. Then to maintenance it, you're going to have to maintenance it, a brownout, a blackout, anything.
We see it all the time with the flashing.
And here's where I believe I have no data. I'm just telling everyone that's listening out there, next time you're at an intersection, look to your right, look to your left. When you're at a red light, someone's texting. Go to a roundabout and see if they're texting. They're not. They're going in a circle and they're not. And to me, I have no data, but I know that's safe. I do.
Well, I've seen it.
And for the employees that are out there working, There is many, and I call them brothers and sisters, that are in 196 IBEW that I've been for 27 years. I'm only 53. So I'm a union guy. I always believe in that. You work your way up. We have lost so many people from texting. They have. A person 10 years ago, I remember who I knew, got hit with his back to the intersection, killed. Now his kids don't have a dad, It is a problem, and it's not a problem that we used to have. So there's where life has changed too, and it's not going back.
All right, now let's get specific though. What about the one at 4th Street and...
That one, to me, you're never going to take the Elwood side. And I wish people would have talked to me, but I know the only reason it was brought up was politics. It was an election, and so people were bringing it up.
Right.
They never asked any of the experts. You're not going to take any of the Elwood House land. What you're going to do is that triangle at Clinton Rosette. I went to Clinton Rosette for 3 years. No kids play in that triangle. That's wasted land.
Okay.
You can take that out and then make it. Then you're going to put a crosswalk for the kids at a different location.
There's what we're talking about.
That's what will happen. Now, the survey that the city did, very smart of them. You can't even put in a roundabout if the utilities are too shallow, if ComEd can't move their lines, if the gas line's underneath. You have to find all that out before you can even dig.
Well, we saw that with the 1st Street Bridge, right? Where there were all kinds of complications
and
there.
If you're not doing that, and you're just, we're going to do it, or no, let's not do it. That's not listening. That's not hearing, okay, what's this going to cost us? Is it going to be safer? And I will throw one last thing in. Elwood House to me is one of the most beautiful locations in DeKalb. I drive past it all the time. I love it in the winter. Could you imagine with no technology around it? Without lights? If you could make the street lights almost look candly, it'll look like it was 100 and some years ago. I just think it would look cool.
All right.
And one last thing, if they do the roundabout right, and I'm saying the engineering part of it, you could make a bus lane. And even if you don't, you can make bus lanes. You can make
a roundabout?
You can if you can make it wide. If you can make it wide enough, and if you can designate the outside lane that you can never go to on the right lane. Maybe even put those little supports, that the little orange, that they're not cones or whatever. Buses can only go in, buses can only go out. Now it doesn't hurt traffic flow. There are so many ways that this could work, or maybe not. Let's listen.
Well, let me ask you a
Don't just
question
poo-poo it.
about the city engineer, Zach Gill, who...
Yeah, I worked with him
John
many
Walker
times.
was here last week. His understanding, he just walked away. He just said,
No, he actually...
see you when I see you, I believe.
It's very bizarre with Zach, or not bizarre, it's very weird for me. He was living in the house where 2 houses down from where I grew up. My dad still owns it over on Lewis Street. He was offered and got another job in the suburbs, more money, higher. He went up.
Okay.
A lot of people do that.
But he didn't leave the city hanging, right? Or, I mean, because the way it sounded like Zach Gill proposed this roundabout and then skipped town.
Well, he only proposed it because he was looking at how can I get tax dollars that aren't tax dollars? What can I get from the state of Illinois that won't cost the taxpayers money? Oh, a roundabout. So he listened. And that's where I think all of us, if you have a house and someone comes around and could offer you something that could lower your amount, you're going to listen. That was it. And then he did. He moved on to another. He's a great guy, very intelligent guy. I worked with him, on the roundabout out on Gurler.
That's the other roundabout.
Virgil Cook, we did the lighting. I was out there almost every day. And I drive that. That's a great location for a roundabout. I'm not an engineer, so I don't know if 1st Street would work. But God, there's some land there with that Rosette Triangle.
Well, where do we stand right now with the city council? Is that?
It's not even been brought up. Just like I said, it was totally brought up at that time by people we know for a derogatory for the election. That's it. To go against, because I'll just say it. Everyone knows I back them. I back the mayor. I back a lot of these people. How do we make them look negative? So bring up, it's the Barnes roundabout. No. It was Zach Gill talking to the state. That's the reality.
Right.
But why do you bring it up at that point? To get people to vote for someone else.
All right, fair enough. All right, Dan, what you got there, my friend?
Okay, this is a Kirkland story. A minor called Kirkland police saying they feared for their safety and the safety of their younger sibling. According to arrest documents, police responded to the home on South 5th in Kirkland. This was this past Friday. The minor told police they were concerned about their dad, who had been sleeping since 8 p.m. the night before. Police awakened the father, who reeked of alcohol. The child told officers that he felt unsafe at the home. The father demanded police leave. The mother of the children told police over the telephone that the father had been forcefully shoving the youngsters. When officers were leaving, the older child was waving to officers from a second-story window, urging them to come back.
Wow.
Police came back, door was locked. They forced their way in to retrieve the two youngsters. The 33-year-old male, Caleb Kusmitter, is now charged with felony domestic battery. And he does have a prior domestic battery conviction in Kane County.
Wow, that is truly a frightening story. We were just
alcohol.
talking about that. Yeah.
It's again alcohol. That's usually the one mix.
But look at this kid, what the kid had to go through.
What the kid had to go through.
You know, about your dad and just, oh, man.
And that's where it's horrible for them to experience. And then I hope that person gets to talk to someone.
Yeah.
Because that's the other
Well, there's
part
another
of
case here
mental
where a
health.
mental health professional would have been.
It is. And I say it very openly, and I don't care if I'm judged by it. With the losses I've had in my life, and I've had quite a few, yeah, I've went to counseling. And without it, I wouldn't be the person I am today. That, my family, and my friends. But the counseling, having someone else outside of you, but you got to give them everything. You can't lie. I always say when you go into counseling, look at it as like you're looking yourself in the mirror. You can't lie to yourself. Don't lie to them. Buy in. But it's actually also the counselor. Some people click with one and they don't click with the other. I've been through 7. I'll just say it.
That's all right. You know it when you have the right one. I know.
Yeah, it was finally a Russian woman. I don't know why, but she got through to me. Just would not take any of the things I was saying and got me to open up.
There's a joke in there somewhere. Leave that one alone.
No, she was great.
Well, I'm glad you lightened these up. I want to stay with a serious subject, though, because when you were running for alderman, you said that the top public safety concern for the city should be crime.
Yes.
We live in a college town. But we also have a lower cost of living in DeKalb than the Chicago suburbs, and I believe these two factors cause the majority of crime in our city. Explain that, if you would, Justin. What do you mean by that?
Well, I work in Chicago quite a bit, and I'm in the suburbs a lot. And the way I see it, it is a totally different. The houses and just your gas and everything is more expensive in there. And what I believe has happened is, if you have NIU's enrollment is down, and it's a cheaper cost of living out here, it's not the townies that are doing the crime. And when I say townies, those are new people coming into town to raise a family too. Mm-hmm. We embrace all of you. I have so many friends that I've only met over the last 5 years, and the friends I've had since 1975. What it is it's people coming into this town from other towns, criminals, because of the low cost of living.
Okay.
And it's a base where now, very low cost of living, and I can do my crimes. And it just, that is what this has been. There's no reason to call it anything else. That's why I did also mention of background checks and credit checks landlords should do. I don't mind doing it. I do it for credit cards. I do it for anything else. What are you hiding? Show your background check. Show your credit check.
Now, Dan, you recently bought a house in DeKalb. Did you have to do background checks? Do they do that on you?
Oh, boy, I don't recall.
Okay.
Actually.
I did a credit check only on my house. I've had to do background checks when I've had to work at schools. And any school I've ever had to work at, when I was contracting as an electrician, they would make you go through a background check before you get to work there. Love that. I always got to work there. Now, if my background showed something else, like some of those things you were mentioning,
right?
Maybe you shouldn't let them in the school.
Yeah.
Like on the planes, too. We do this all over, everybody. It's not a new thing.
But now the landlord background check, is that something you're going to push for? And what would that look like? Does it have to go to the board? Do you propose it and then it goes to the board? I would
assume you'd have to go to the renters first, and I went to a few of those so far. I'm new, so I'm kind of getting my feet
wet. I don't want to stir things up too much.
Yeah, I've been here a month in my position, so I'm trying to figure out more and more, and how do you pass it through? But I know it's been mentioned, and I believe it can. I believe most people would want that. Well, okay, let me put it this way. Most non-criminals would want that.
There you go.
I don't believe criminals would want it. You know what I mean? And another thing at DeKalb that gets overlooked and people have forgotten about it is hunter properties being gone. That's a big one.
Well, Cohen Barnes mentioned that they found 40 people shooting heroin in one of the apartments.
Oh, that was a nightmare. We did work for them too. They would never pay anyone. There was all kinds of bad things that were going on there. That went down, and what did our crime go down? 30%? There's part of that is that.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad that we had a mayor that had the stones to go after something like that, because I don't believe a lot of candidates would have.
All right.
I've always said that. I don't believe you would have. He did. Give him the credit.
All right, I have a story. I was coming down Lincoln Highway there, right in front of Elder Care Services, and just got past the railroad tracks there, and I think it goes up to 45 there. So me and this dude next to it, he's doing about maybe 50, so we're going pretty good. Here comes this clown going, I don't know, like maybe 70, zooms up behind us, so I think it's kind of funny. I'm going to go all the way to the stoplight at Casey's there and keep him going 45. He goes around on the left side and passes me on the left side. Of course, I catch him there at the stoplight afterwards, but it's like, speeding. Let's talk about speeding in DeKalb. Another top safety concern.
Yeah, everybody's in a big damn hurry. Aren't they? Doesn't it seem like America that everyone's in such a big damn hurry? Calm down. And if not, use deterrence. And
what now? Bigger fines for speeding?
Well,
or what?
Chicago just implemented this, and I am not saying do it in DeKalb, but they have now automated. If you go over 45, you get a ticket in the mail. Maybe that comes in. The flashing signs.
Big Brother's watching, though.
I know. People don't want Big Brother watching, but my argument to that is you're carrying a cell phone, right? You're allowing Big Brother to watch. He has a GPS on you then every second of the day. It was like...
We watch 48 hours. I know what's going on.
During COVID, when they were saying, oh, the vaccine has something in it to put a GPS on you. I go, you're carrying a cell phone. You're doing it without the government. You're doing it on your own.
Dan, you got a speeding story? Have you had
Go ahead.
No, but I agree with what Justin said, but I want the duration clause. If you're speeding... If you're going 65 and a 45, make it, you're going 65 for 3 seconds or more. Because sometimes I am wool gathering.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh! Take my foot off the gas,
No, if I can say this, there is a lot of deterrence. And if we look, signs are deterrents. They take us our eyes off of the roads to look over. So like we installed over by the old high school, which is now, what's it called now?
Is that the... Founders? No.
Anyway, but
keep switching them on,
to put up a speed limit 30 mile per hour, and it's got flashing beacons. Those flashing beacons, as long as they're programmable, they'll come on at the time they're needed.
Just using solar energy, right?
Yeah, they're using solar energy, and that's another thing. In the last 20 years, lithium batteries and solar technology has advanced to the point, look at your cordless drills and all that. That's what's given us a different way to do this. You can put those up in a lot of spots. Having more police officers, too, to catch them, that's a big thing.
Well, that went up like 1,000, right? 1,000 more stops from the year before.
Yeah, because it was, I'll even go back, I'm sorry I keep doing this, back to COVID and all that. When our police force was down, there was people on the south side of DeKalb going, I never see a cop. Why? They were all over where the crime is. Mm-hmm. And the night I went on my ride-along, the police were all in 2 just sections of DeKalb back then. Why? That's where the crime was.
Well, we saw that 60% of the calls go to 10% of the area there.
Yeah.
So it's...
And now I'm seeing more police in the south side. I'm seeing more over in the 4th Ward. I believe that's part of it too. When there's a presence, you slow down. I might get caught. That is a human deterrent every time.
Well, I say a little cheer every time I see somebody pulled over. Like, yeah, light him up.
And I'm driving around. When I used to deliver pizzas, I remember every time I was in a residential area, I slowed down like you wouldn't believe, and I still do it. Why? I don't care where I have to go. I don't care how fast I want to go. Hitting a kid or hitting an animal or hitting a person, that's the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Was it worth it? No. Cognizant. Think of that while you're driving, and slow down. Just, I don't understand why you're... I just don't understand why everyone's in such a big hurry. I don't. If you're late, should have left earlier. That's what my dad would tell me. I should have got up earlier.
All right, Dad, what you got? Another story?
DeKalb Police Commander Keith Erkey graduated from the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia. That is according to the DeKalb PD. Erkey, who has 23 years of law enforcement experience, is the 9th officer in the DeKalb Police Department's history to complete the program, which is attended by less than 1% of the officers nationwide.
Wow.
The 10-week training includes advanced coursework in leadership, communication, and physical fitness. The session included 239 officers from across the U.S. and around the world. The 52-year-old Keith Erkey, who was a diehard Jets fan, by the way.
Hold on against him.
He joined the DeKalb PD back in 2005. He currently serves as investigations commander and co-commander of the DeKalb County Major Case Squad.
So can he ultimately join the FBI then? Is that the FBI with Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.? Yeah, there's a new show, but
When I was talking to Keith about this, he was saying that he looked over and saw a bunch of younger guys, and he was like, "Oh boy,
It's a young man's game.
Yeah, I know.
Young
Well,
woman's
especially you
game.
mentioned the physical fitness part. I find that interesting.
But Keith's a great athlete, a real good athlete. So
All right.
He goes above and beyond.
I don't know if he could walk in and work for Cash.
Justin Carlson, the fourth ward alderman from DeKalb, joining us today. We're going through some news stories. Now, I found this one, and again, we're on all negative. Trade-centric summer camp by DeKalb area youth. DeKalb Mechanical is doing a deal where they have these, I think it's about 20 kids, learning how to work with metal and working with metal and obtain the kind of jobs that they have at DeKalb Mechanical. Here's what I want you to train for, and they're training for it. So, I mean, that to me is great. Because I was talking to you, you didn't go to college per se. You had a lot of courses
I went to community
page,
and then I got into the trades. And when I say I got in, I had to work at $6.20 an hour for 3 years until I was moved up to number one on the list.
Okay.
So at unions, and you start off at the bottom. They call it a book. You're on the books, and the more certifications, the more qualities and that you have for the job, you can move up. So like I have on there, I'm IMSA Tech Level 2, Bench Level 2. What that is, that means you can work on any traffic signal cabinet in the entire nation, let alone the state of Illinois.
Okay.
So, and that's what the state of Illinois started mandating for all of us, to take these courses. And you can keep moving yourself up. And the more courses you can take, the higher you can get. So I took as many as I could.
That's great. And Danny and I talked about this before, but not everybody has to go to college, right? Not everybody has to go to a 4-year. This is 31 DeKalb teenagers who took the heavy metal summer experience there. And did you take metal shop or I started to take mechanic, and then I had to memorize 39 wrenches to start the class. I'm like, wait, I thought this was going to be an easy walk. I took beginning guitar instead of
I wish I would have went your route. AI can't take the job of a plumber,
right?
No,
or an electrician,
and that's what I'm working in right now is artificial intelligence for vision systems. Now, I get this all the time. I've been doing this for about 1.5 years. I work for a company called LM3 Technologies. They're out of Chicago. It's a DeKalb local boy, Mike Walt. He wicked smart. This guy is one of the
wicked smart
genius level, and that's why I believe in him. It's another one of those, why did I choose this? I believe in that person. He invented it. He has his own patents. And if you imagine this, what we're working on right now is a vision system in assembly lines for the parts that go for hip and knee replacements. Now, if you haven't seen these,
I just hurt my hip running,
well,
or not. So
if you get a hip replacement,
person, yes,
and this goes into your body, it has a compound on it that it's almost like a graphite that is adhered to it. When that is inside your body, it helps the cells all conform around it. If humans are inspecting this, you usually get about a 55% clip of knowing the difference. Some of it you can't see from the naked eye. Or with the AI, the camera, and the AI software, 99% to 100%. What would you rather have? Well, let's save their jobs, but I might be able to lose my leg or walk with a limp, or I get my leg done, and then that person that was inspecting with their eyes, now they learn the software, they learn how to train it. I've taught a few people that you would say, oh, this never happens. Yes, it does. They're interested in it. They have a better job and they make more money. I keep saying this to everyone. Laverne and Shirley lost their jobs in the 70s. So if you're feeling bad for it, remember at the end when they were putting their gloves, that job went away in the 60s, 70s. Her and the big ragu were over at the bar and cooking pizzas. So no one cared then. No one cared then. Anyway, go ahead.
Our first Laverne and Shirley.
Yes, and that dates me. I know it dates me, but it's true. I don't remember everybody in a high tizzy that, Laverne lost her job, looking at beer bottles.
All right, let's talk about marijuana.
Yeah.
Marijuana sales are through the roof here, no
Good.
pun intended. But I see Leaf, one of the distributors here in town, want to have an edible tasting room,
Yes.
just like you do with the beer tasting or
Yep.
spirits. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm totally for it. And you were talking earlier with the domestics and that and the alcohol and that. Well, what I've seen, and it's once again, I'm not throwing out data, I'm showing what I've seen in my 53 years on this planet. Haven't seen
What does a baby computer call his father computer?
No one.
Data.
But I've never seen it that bad with the marijuana case. That marijuana doesn't cause those rage and all that. It's mostly a pain derivative. It's something to take away the pain. And how do I know this? My father was against it when I was in my 20s, quit smoking pot and get to work. Now he's take me to that place because he has pains and it does help. My brother was the first one, I'm not making this up, in DeKalb County back 30 years ago, they got THC pills. Because of his condition, he had appetite suppressant. He had all these problems. Marijuana helped him. Mm-hmm. And I always remember this. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was a congressman in Los Angeles or in California about 15 years ago. Adamantly against marijuana. Never it will be legal. Hated it, against it, brought it back, I don't know how many years. Then he got stomach cancer. And guess what helped him? Mm-hmm. And he came out and said, I was wrong. Too late, you were wrong. It is a very good thing, I think, for our town. It's also not making, and people don't think of this, back in the day, back in our days, you used to have to go to a drug dealer to get marijuana. Let's just say it.
Right.
That drug dealer wasn't just selling marijuana. And you saw some rough individuals. People put themselves in peril for it. Now it's a beautiful facility. You're 21 and older. That's all that can go and buy them. So it's for adults. They're safe. It's grown in Illinois. It's from seed all the way to distributing. Come on. And if you don't want it, it's a luxury. Don't do it. If you don't like the taxes, don't go buy it.
My father was an alcoholic, and in the early 70s, my sister was going to Northwestern, and of course, they were making acid on campus because acid was legal then.
Yeah.
But she had some marijuana, and Dad was trying to quit drinking, and he said, well, roll me a couple joints, and let's see how this goes.
Yep.
So anyway, he tells a story about being in the bedroom, and he used to sit in this chair in that little Sears black and white TV that he used to watch, and he wasn't sure if the marijuana was taking any effect of that. He goes, I went to go to the bed, and he goes, the bed seemed like it was about 100 miles away.
That's it. It's like anything that's going to impair your judgment or impair. We do it to catch the buzz. That's alcohol.
But that's what my dad was. He was, he was ready to try whatever might help, and back out it did.
And now all are. I mean, every elderly person in my family, my parents do. I found out my grandmother back in the day at the Sycamore Sportsman's Club when she was out fishing. No, she was getting high and fishing. Now everyone tells me Geeka was out there. We called our grandmother Geeka. She was out there smoking joints. And guess what? My grandmother was one of the most docile, nicest, loving grandmas ever. I loved her more than anyone. So don't tell me it was a bad thing.
Yeah, Jason invited me for Thanksgiving, and then they were passing the bong around before dinner. What the hell was going on?
I've been to those too. But I'm all for it as long as it's done in the right way. It's not around schools. That's why when we're talking about the 4th Street corridor, no, there's too many schools around. You're not going to have a dispensary over there. Don't even bring it up. Keep it away from you, educate about it. You should be doing it with alcohol. And it's not a gateway, too. I've smoked marijuana. I've never done cocaine. I've never done heroin. I've never done fentanyl. I've never done any of these drugs. People don't believe me when I say I've never done cocaine because of the way that I act. But
I was suspicious this morning, actually.
It didn't gateway me ever, and I have probably 10 other buddies that I can show you didn't gateway them. So all these stigmas from back when they were, the cotton was afraid of it, and there's been all this misinformation really for our lifetimes. Now we're seeing it. We're seeing it in Colorado. We're seeing it now in Illinois. And it's a great tax revenue. It's safer to buy for the people that are buying it, and it does help you with pain. I don't care if you don't believe me. I know it does.
All right, very good.
So I'm totally for it.
Do you got another story, or what do you got to comment on that one?
I just got one story, a state story. Governor Pritzker signed the fiscal year 2026 state budget. Legislators approved the package along party lines before the deadline last month. The largest state spending plan spends $55.2 billion and increases taxes on phones, tobacco, and vaping products, sports betting, and short-term hotel rentals. Now,
Yeah, why not screw the tourists?
Short-term hotel rentals. All right.
It's Verbo, I think.
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, a lawsuit claiming the process that Democrats used to approve the budget was unconstitutional.
Sure.
And there will be a hearing on July 3rd. The Illinois Freedom Caucus filed the suit in Sangamon County. The group, comprised of 7 state legislators, say Democratic leadership in the House and Senate wait until the last possible moment, pass a budget and violate the Illinois Constitution in the process.
Oh, good. I'm glad they're calling him on the carpet on that. That's good to hear. That's yeah. But now we should point out next week we're going to do a show. Dan, I'm telling you too. Jeff Kiker's going to join us, state representative, and we're going to talk about these issues, and especially this budget thing, where they just try to ram it through and just like what $2.2 billion in new taxes, right? That just insane in a city, in a state that's already overtaxed. Yeah. All right, we'll leave that one alone. No. Give me, if it's possible, Justin, give me a couple of quick answers on this one. Now,
sure.
The new fire station, again, we're excited about that, but everybody keeps bringing up the staffing costs. Obviously, we need more firemen to staff an extra fire station.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Well, we need for that, because once again, I'm going to talk about this momentum that I've seen and why I ran for alderman and why I'm part of this. The bridges are getting fixed. We have a new fire department. We're opening a new school.
My street is being worked on as we speak.
Your street's being paved. They're cutting the trees, trimming the trees in front of mine right now. They've been painting the downtown that looks so much better than it did. Sorry, everybody that loved autos and all that other stuff. This is better. It is. Look at it in winter. So you're going to need money for that. So right now it's, well, don't raise taxes. I'm not. But I am going to vote yes for the grocery tax of the 1%. And there you go. You probably just had 30 people all start a blog. And here's why.
At least you're coming right out and saying it.
And it's for those reasons, the momentum. Right now, you don't stop. There is no net increase to any of you. There isn't.
Because we're paying it right now, right?
35 years. And in that 35 years, if you want to do that R&D stuff, the Republican-Democrat stuff, look it up. It was a Republican governor at that time. Now it's a Democrat governor. In those 35 years, there's been 7 governors. 4 of them Republican, 3 of them Democrats. Never saw them ever cut it. So why weren't you complaining or anything? I believe that I'm a big backer and supporter of our police chief, our police department, Bill Nichols, our city manager, our fire department. I've watched these people for the last 10, 20 years. They're good people. And I believe right now to take $800,000 away from them, that's wrong. Back these guys.
So you agree with Nicholas where he says that could hurt the safety of the city?
And you mentioned safe passage. Something's got to go. And then I'd be lying to the 4th Ward. I said safety and paving their roads. All I'm going to do is, what'll happen in the next 3 years. Get rid of that 1%, and now it's going to be taxed somewhere else. And here, I want to speak to the 4th Ward exclusively. All right. And I know it's only, 19% turnout? So the 19% of you, the 81, I guess, don't listen to me. That's a big problem with me, too, of people not voting. Only 19% turnout. Come on, everybody. My dad always said, and I'm going to say it, if you don't vote, you don't bitch. That's what he said to me when I was a kid. I have voted in every election. I've never missed one. All right.
This was supposed to be your short answer.
I know, but in the 4th Ward. All right. There are 7 wards, right?
Right.
So you're going to do $1 investment for $100 spent. Well, those other wards are too. So for your $1, you're going to get matched by 6. You are. Because it's 7 wards and that's 6 other wards to help our city. The other part of it, we're not even bringing up NIU. NIU students, I see them at Schnucks, I see them at Inbones, I see them at Walmart, I see them all everywhere. They're going to pay it too. So it's not all on you. You're getting that $6 from the other ones, and you're getting the NIU. NIU students don't pay property taxes, everybody. They don't pay this. You want NIU and DeKalb to work together? This is something that none of you will have a raise. I'm not raising your taxes. None of us are. We're keeping it the same for 35 years. That's my entire adult life. I have paid.
I haven't heard anybody else bring that up that it's been around for 35 years.
35 years. It was enacted in 1990. I was an 18-year-old man in DeKalb.
All right, so where we stand right now with the city is, I believe we're recording this on the 19th.
It's 18th, Monday.
So you'll vote on it this Monday, right?
And I don't know. I don't know how the other the council people will vote on it, but that's my belief. I joined this to back you all. I joined this because I believe in all of you, and I believe there's momentum. And I see the momentum around the town with everything that's happening. Don't stop it now. Don't give it. I've seen it in the last 53 years of my life here. We all go for something and then it goes off because of this or that. There is no increase. You're going to do the same you've done for 35 years, and we get to back these things that we know are going in the right direction. To me, that's what I'm voting on, and I'm standing behind it.
All right, and other short...
Sorry, there are no short answers for me.
Short answer. Mayor Barnes was here talking about the train to Chicago, taking the train to Chicago, and where we stand with that. We've had the studies done. Now he's talking about a second study. Give me a quick answer about what do you want? Are you pro-train?
I'm pro-train. I always have been. I take the train from Elburn all the time. I love taking from DeKalb. And for those that have said, oh, that'll make people leave. No, I believe it'll bring people here. If you have a strong city, DeKalb is different. I'm sorry, it's different than Sycamore, it's different than Genoa, it's different than all these. I saw all these other cities that voted yes for the 1%. Well, sorry, you're different than us. You don't have a university. You don't. And you don't have this economic development that we have.
Right.
We have to keep this going. Going back to the 70s and 60s, DeKalb Ag was here. That's why we had it. I did tassel corn when I was 13.
So this guy.
You did too. All right, man. Yeah, they don't have that anymore. Why? Because of automation. DeKalb Ag is still around. Down in Illiopolis, you see the flying ears of corn at Bear. It's changed. Now we have Meadow. We have all these other factories. They're all on the south side. And guess who borders all of them? 4th Ward. We do. We are around all this new building. And I believe the 4th Ward is behind it because it can make DeKalb such a great place very soon.
All right. Well, let's and then we'll end on a relatively late note. Okay, we try to make this like the morning show. So Dan's going to do a news quiz here in a moment. Speaking of John Finn, you were talking about a wonderful man. He is, of course, Pizza
One
Villa.
of the best human beings I ever met.
One of our sponsors here, and we'll ask that news quiz question. But I saw this in the paper. Clinton Rosette Middle School student Allie Cheney, if I'm saying that correctly, recently named the 2025 Promising Young Writer by the National Council of Teachers of English for an essay that she wrote. And I worry about kids with the technology. And of course, Dan, your kids still like to be creative, like the creativity too. And just to see a kid write, do your kids write? Because, I used to get in trouble at Queen of All Saints with the nuns, and they'd always make me write these 100-word essays. That was a big thing. Yeah. And I didn't mind that at all. The nun, I'm in trouble. All right, 100-word essay, but because I love writing them. I'll go, well, how about you? Are your kids still creative? And
my wife makes them write thank you notes to
love it.
Stuff, which I didn't do as a youngster.
No, I do not.
But and they took penmanship in their curriculum, so they're homeschooled, so they took penmanship. You still have to write a check every now and then.
Yeah.
Although I am a check writer, and I have my ARP magazine showing my age, 7% of Americans write checks now. 7%.
Yeah, I barely.
So I am one of the 7%.
It's the new world. That's what
I don't want to be messing with my bank account.
One of the smartest things my dad ever did, I remember him telling me in the 80s, he's like, I'm going to invest in plastic money, credit cards. And that's where my dad was a genius because he knew it. He goes, I know this is going to take off. And that's where it was, where he did his job, but then he also took risks with the finances, raising us and everything. And that's why he's in Arizona for 7 months out of the year now anymore.
Yeah, we were watching the Discover commercial where it's accepted at 99%. And my wife and I were talking about the Diners Club. What started with the Diners Club.
I remember Telly Savalas.
Well, yeah,
it was the Diners Club.
Oh, that's pretty good Telly Savalas.
Remember?
And you look like him too.
I do look like
Bert Shirley, Telly Savalas.
The obits, we want to mention Glenn Jennings. Now, I was asking Justin off the air about, there used to be a gentleman that go around collecting cans in DeKalb, but he was referred to as the old man can, this gentleman was, and he collected newspapers, donated them to the animal shelters for the floors for the animals. And he said recyclable was necessary for future generations. So it was not just a can guy collector, he was looking to the future. It's kind of cool. And this one, I was asking you guys if you knew Ron Modell. Ron Modell, he joined the faculty at Northern Illinois University, where he would launch one of the first college jazz programs in the country, the NIU Jazz Ensemble. He taught 28 years at Northern, 600 concerts, more than 600,000 people heard the music, 13 albums as well, and he's part of Phil Collins' band. In the band back in the day.
Wow.
So in his 70th birthday, he launched a stand-up comedy career. And I had interviewed Ron earlier when I was at the radio station, and so I looked it up, his comedy bit. And he told this joke, and I'm going to tell it now, in 30 years of radio, I never said an expletive on the air, but this joke requires that I swear. So anybody who's a little sensitive to...
Well, you swore off the air.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that, like I said.
And I'm so glad I'm here for this landmark moment. I really am.
I got goosebumps.
I am too.
All right. So a young guy about 21 goes in to apply for a job. And the guy was interviewing him, and he says, all right, son. He goes, what do you think is your worst attribute? Just what do you think is the worst attribute? And the kid thinks about it for a second. He goes, oh, I tell the truth. I tell the truth all the time. And the guy goes, hey, you know what, young man? We don't happen to think that's such a bad attribute at all. And he goes, I don't give a fuck what you think. You have to apologize. You gotta have the expletive in there. I'm not kidding. And why I don't think you should have to apologize. I think people are way too sensitive, and especially when it comes also to politics. Am I correct? You have to be 18 years or older to vote. Right. Then why are we acting like it's little kids? You know what I mean? You ought to be able to swear. Why? It's an adult thing. And anyone, oh no, it's above. You watched the Tom Brady roast too and laugh. Right. You know you did. And your kids probably did too. So come on. Let's act like going back to the 70s, listen to the Nixon tapes, right? Yeah, listen. Nixon was F-bombs going left and right. LBJ was swearing. And I love the football too, Hard Knocks. All of them except the Bears. Because, of course, they're holier than thou. That it was swearing and everyone loved it and they missed it. It's not the same. I mean, there are places. There are places for it. That was perfect. All right, let's finish with the newscast. What do you got there, my friend?
I'm sorry, I was thinking about what Lenny and Squeeze.
You were with Lenny and Squeeze. What did they do? What
did they do for? Oh, is that what they did for a living?
No, they worked at the factory too. Didn't they? I'm pretty sure it was Schlott's Brewery or whatever. I remember this.
Commander Keith Durkee of the DeKalb PD.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Don't you want to know what they're going to
What are you giving away, TD?
Well, funny you should ask, and it's T-Bone, by the way. Yes, we're giving away a Pizza Villa, a gift certificate to Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more. A great owner as well. Yeah. So Pizza Villa.
Great family.
Yeah.
I want to know the name of Commander Durkee's favorite football team.
Oh, very good. That's good. I like that, son. All right, if you know it, TD Ryan 2001 at yahoo.com. TD Ryan 2001 at yahoo.com, and we will get you. I want to congratulate Ken Donald. Ken Donald was our winner last week on our news quiz. And Jay, we just have a couple of minutes left here, Justin, but I want to end talking about your brother. I remember interviewing you about your brother when you lost him, Bear Down Jay, and tell us about your brother, and tell us about him being in the Visa Hall of Fame and then the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Wow. Yeah, this September will be 17 years that he passed away, and it's amazing it's been that long. No, my brother was diagnosed when he was 7 with juvenile diabetes. Also, it killed my uncle and my grandfather. So I was 5 when my grandfather died. I was about 14 when my uncle died. He also lost both of his feet. And then my brother had all the problems. My father gave my brother a kidney. My brother had 3 kidney transplants. Wow. And they don't take the other kidneys out. So when he died, he had 5. Do they really? Yeah, because they keep it as a conduit. That little bit it's working, let it keep working, then the next one works and the next one. But in his 39 years on this planet, and that's all my Uncle Ralph got also, he was known in DeKalb as Grouch. A lot of people love my uncle too. Anyway, he was such a Bear fan his whole life. That's what he... When I was doing my sign running for alderman, this is a quick little side story, I kept thinking what colors to use. And everyone's like, red, white, and blue, or orange and this. And I could hear my brother go, Bears. And I'm like, so what color should I do? Bears. And so I did them blue and orange. And Walter Payton is still my hero. He was our hero growing up. So my brother started dressing up as Walter Payton, full uniform, no blackface. He went straight in, and every game in full uniform, and became in the north end zone. Everyone knew him. And he started something of why the Bears now won't announce every player. They used to say, from San Diego State, left tackle John Smith. My brother would stand up and he got the whole end zone to go, he sucks, after every name. Then now they just go, the Green Bay Packers. And I swear, we all swear it's him. And I'll still have Bears celebrities and people like Dick Duran just passed away. He was such a nice guy, would bring my brother and I in the locker room. Everyone loved him. When they used to have the Bear conventions in Chicago, the one night I was too drunk, I passed out in my room. My brother called up, said, come down. There's my brother in a roped off area with the fridge for the coaches, all this, and the fridge bought me a drink and said, like you needed another one. They go, we love your brother. And just everyone, Tony Medlin, who's still there, great man, he's the equipment operator, would give my brother different Bears
pads and game-worn things. And he just bled blue and orange. And his life was cut short. But he always tried helping animals. He always tried helping anyone. He was a great friend. And that's why also of why the mayor and I are such good friends. You've all seen me going door to door with them and everything. Cohen and my brother were friends at Little John Elementary School.
Oh, wow.
They were best friends. I was the little brother. They would take me along with. Well, then think 17 years ago, the mayor lost one of his oldest and greatest friends. I lost my brother. What do you think we did? We came together. We filled the void for each other. I trust him, just like my brother. He trusts me, just like that friend.
I got to hear about the day, though, that you went into the Hall of Fame. Now, you said who else was Elway got inducted?
Oh, yeah, he got inducted in Canton, Ohio, and it was John Elway, Barry Sanders, a few others, but those are the high. They were in the float ahead of my brothers. So he's with all the other fans that got in. There was like 6 of them. Okay. They called themselves the Professional Fans, Ultimate Fans Association, PUFA. Okay. They're still out there. They never invite me back. They don't like me.
And your brother has a bust in Canton, right?
He doesn't have a bust. He has a plaque.
A plaque, okay.
And it says of how he got in and what he went through and why he's such a big Bear fan. But I told you the story when he got to go on the field. So it's sold out Soldier Field. All the fans are there. And we get to the 50-yard line, and he gives me this move of, get out of the way. You move over there with the camera people. So all of his pictures, you can see a shadow of a guy holding the camera. I'm the shadow. And I told you also, I didn't go to Canton when he got inducted. And everyone, my family got on me. Everyone was giving me a hard time. My brother and I talk a lot. You can hear it.
Yeah, we're already over our time. Yeah.
That was his achievement, not mine. And he needed that achievement, not having me there to take one bit away from him. And that was what he and I always had, was I wanted him to get his due and for people to know who he was.
All right, let's leave it at that point. Yeah. And it's been refreshing having you here. Dan, again, next week we'll try to get some state news and we'll talk about the new budget and
what, Jeff?
The Safety Act.
Yes.
Well, you could probably go on for hours on the Safety Act.
Yeah, we'll see. I will. I'll come back anytime, man. And I'm sorry I talk so much.
No, it's wonderful.
I got something to say, and I'm going to say it before I'm gone.
I want to thank Ethan Davis, my nephew, for putting all this together. We appreciate all our wonderful sponsors as well. And again, thanks to Justin Carlson for your service through the years for the city of DeKalb. We are very much grateful.
Right back at you, TD. I love it. You and I have been talking for probably 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
I love your back, and I love that you're in this kind of a thing now, not AM radio podcasting, man.
Let the F-bombs fly.
Yes, let the F-bombs fly. You've set a precedent, and it wasn't me.
Dan, thanks as always for your work, man. We appreciate it.
I'm honored.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks.
And that's News Podcast number 3 here on, wait. That's News Podcast number 3. TD Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Diamond, your State Farm insurance agent. Pizza Villa in DeKalb. Elder Care Services of DeKalb County. The Junction Eating Place in DeKalb. And my insurance guy, Mike DeVito in Sycamore.